Living in America as a black person, you recognize there is one set of laws for you and one set of laws for those, especially in the white community. In our book, Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy, I take you through times in my life when I first started noticing white supremacy. We teach you how to recognize it, identify it, and also counter it in our book. This book is a beginner's course for those that are just starting to wake up and open their eyes to see the system of white supremacy. As a black American person, you must understand this system because this system is life or death to you. How you handle it, how you deal with it, it can affect your mental health if you don't understand this system. Pick up our book, Passive Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy, today on Amazon. So I don't know if you remember the story of our brother Bakari Henderson. He was a traveler, who was beaten to death by a mob in Greece back in 2017. And his parents will be heading back to the European country to see 7 of the original 9 men accused of killing their son are retried. Now, in 2018, they say despite the eyes of the world tuning in to see justice, not one of the perpetrators was convicted of murder. So Jill and Phil Henderson are still seeking justice for their son, who had been 27 years old this year, had he not been slain while traveling to Greece for a business trip. Now, it said the parents would be returning to the so-called birthplace of democracy after the Greek prosecutors ordered the retrial and upgraded murder charges for 6 of the suspects who were convicted of assault only in the first trial in 2018. So one of the suspects has been added to the lot and will also stand trial for his part in Henderson's death. Now, the retrial, which is set to start February 21st, was ordered in November 2018, but has been delayed repeatedly since then. Now, the black American young brother, was attacked outside of a bar in Laguna Resort on the Greek island of Zakynthos in July 2017 by several men. Henderson had flown to the country for a photo shoot for his new clothing line. Let's say an investigation gave an inclination of what started the fight. Let's say jealousy, okay, if you remember this story. Because it's a lot of these dudes, non-black men, like I say, I'm just keeping it 100. They get jealous real quick. And I'm going to show you why if you remember this story. So a waitress from the bar told the police that the fight happened after she asked Bakari for a selfie, right? She asked him. He wasn't looking because, some people was putting out there, look, he was chasing them white women. No, she the one asked him for a selfie. So one of the Serbian dudes approached her and said, there's a lot of Serbs in the bar. Why are you talking to a black guy? Now, we have heard here, I haven't dealt with Serbians, but I heard the Serbians, a lot of them are hella white supremacists. They say a video, of course, was released of the beating, showing in graphic details the last moments of the young brother's life. They said the man who was asked a woman about talking to a black guy punches Henderson in the face. It said a young man did not automatically retaliate, but after he strikes back, it said he flees and they ran him down. They outmatched the numbers. They pulverized him with their fists, slammed him on the parked car, and continued to assault as he falls to the ground. It said at one point in the recording, some of the members of the mob tried to pull each other off, but to no avail. 30 seconds after hitting the ground, Henderson was dead. Now, what I didn't like about that, he was out with his white friends as well, and they didn't jump in and do anything. Ain't no way I'm going to hang with some dudes, and you're not about to fight with me. Look, if you trying to get jumped, I got to jump in. If something happened to me, you got to jump in. It's just bottom line. You're not going to let no dudes instead of gang up on it. And like I say, it started because the female wanted a selfie with a brother. Okay? And some of you brothers can definitely relate to this. How some of these men of other groups get upset because they females be choosing on the brother. You know what I'm saying? And some of them want to get violent. In the comments, some of you be minding your business and these females are choosing, now they mad. Now they say his mother, struggles to even wrap her mind around the motive. I know the motive. I know how these dudes get down. Now they say somebody, getting beaten to death, she said over a selfie. It just makes no sense. Oh no, it makes perfect sense. She said it's hard to imagine that people would have that much hate to do something to another human being. They don't view black men as human beings. I said local authorities assessed that Henderson died of head trauma. They say 9 people were arrested. 1 Greek citizen, 1 British man of Serbian origins, and 7 other Serbians. They said the Greek police released 3 of the men days after the killing, leaving 5 ranging in from 1834 in custody. But during the murder trial in 2018, 9 of the attackers were found not guilty of killing Henderson. 6 of the 9 originally charged with intentional homicide, which carries a life sentence in the country, were convicted of the lesser charge of assault. The British citizen was sentenced to up to 15 years in prison, and the hardest punishment of them all for causing egregious bodily harm. Now, one of the Serbs was sentenced to 10 years, 3 of the Serbs were sentenced to 7 years, and the remaining received 5 years. Now, according to reports, the other 3 men were acquitted. At least 4 of the men have already been released. Now, reports also claim that the men celebrated by smiling and hugging each other after the verdict was rendered. They say the men were even exchanging high fives while still in the presence of the judge. They say in the rest of the court, and even Bakari Henderson's family. Now, I know they wanted to jump across there and just and snap their necks. I know they wanted to. Now, say Henderson's parents, they were there for the trial, sitting behind the accused the entire time, and though they were not successful in bringing justice to their son's legacy, they said they would not give up hope. So now a new trial is set, and their parents are pushing through their bereavement to fight. They said there's been a lot of highs, they said, but mostly lows, trying to process the grief. They said, I would say, it said the hardest thing has been feeling like I'm not always doing the best that I can by my other 2 children because I spend so much time focused on Bakari. He's saying the retrial and just trying to keep his legacy alive. I miss him so much. And like I said, that's so hard, because as parents, you don't supposed to be burying your children. You don't. Your children are supposed to bury you. Now, I say his parents also said that after 4.5 years, they still have not unpacked his luggage from the trip. They said, as he said, the family prepares to go to Greece for the 5th time. They said they had one prayer in mind. They want the courts to truly see their son. They said, I truly hope this time that they really view Bakari as a child of God and a human being that he is, as someone that could be their brother, their son, their grandson, their nephew, their friend. Oh, sister, you're hoping a little too much, my sister. But like I said, pray. They said, she said, I want them to be able to understand that when they're doing the sentencing this time. Now, as I said before, this is not always the experience, for people traveling, but you definitely got to be aware of your surroundings. When you're the only black person in a place somewhere, you definitely got to, just be looking around. Whether you are in Greece, some of these Asian countries, sometimes you hear about these things, brothers being in places, females choosing, dudes want to get mad. You know what I'm saying? Travel in a pack, travel with a group of brothers. That way if something go down, hey, at least you got a backup, right? But always to be careful. Like I said, always think about your surroundings. Now that, I know he didn't see that happening because the girl just asked for a selfie. It was something that's innocent. He probably had done that so many different times with females in the past, even here, in the U.S. I mean, who gonna fight you over a selfie? But, you got to be paying attention and reading the room. Because when I go somewhere, the first thing I do is when I get somewhere, I'm just scanning the whole room. I'm just scanning the room. I'm just trying to feel the vibe of the place. I'm looking where the exit's at. I'm looking at who all in there. And I may sit in there about a good 5 minutes of some place, or if I feel something not right about somewhere else, I say, nah, I'll move around. Like, what's wrong? Nah, I don't want to be here. Because I don't know, you can call it whatever it is, some people say, that's the Lord quickening you. Some people can say, oh, you feel the spirit of a place. Y'all, listen, some of you brothers and sisters know what I'm talking about. You could feel like a vibe, like certain vibes that come to you about certain places. You can feel like, oh, okay, it's comfortable here. And then you can feel like, ooh, I don't know if to be here. And how many times have y'all been places and you tried to ignore that feeling that came to you like you probably shouldn't be there, and then something jumped off, right? And you like, man, if I'd have listened to that, I could have got knocked off in here or whatever the case may be, and you shouldn't even been there in the first place. So I always say, just do your research. Even as a black traveler, especially you go into these European nations for sure, Asian nations, some of them too, right? Read what brothers and sisters are saying online. Join travel groups of black people and ask questions of people that say, hey, have you been to this country? Somebody 9 times out of 10, the travel group will like, yeah, I've been in that country. And they'll give you the rundown of everything, good, bad, indifferent. Hey, go over here, but don't go over there. That sort of thing. So I don't want black people to be afraid to travel. Traveling is a beautiful thing. But we just definitely need to be, safe in doing so and what we're doing, especially in these foreign countries. And especially as a young black man, these females choosing. But let me know what you think about this particular story. Like I said, they hopefully this time the family can get, some real justice because they need the life sentences for sure. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store.